2008, very important, always in our memory. Why? Because we all remember how it is, that despite the fact that in the last 50 over years, many of us here asked, would we ever see change in terms of governance? Would we ever see the Barisan Nasional take a back seat and for once in their lives listen to what the people of Malaysia have to say? This is the question that we all ask ourselves. And in 2008, I think none of us here expected or even believed that we could see the kind of results that we saw in 2008. Now, I'll be very honest to tell you that most of you here would also agree with me. We had that dream. We knew that it could happen, but we were not sure if we were going to see it happen in 2008. Now, ladies and gentlemen, why do I make mention of this at the outset? Kenapa saya nak sebut perkara ini pada permulaan ceramah malam ini? Kerana sekarang saya rasa apa yang kita perlu buat, kita perlu menilaikan balik. Kita perlu menilaikan apa berlaku dalam 4 tahun yang lalu untuk tanya persoalan yang lebih penting. Seperti mana disebut oleh saudari Kasturi tadi. Prior to 2008, the Barisan Nasional continuously put us down. And I will explain what I mean by us as I go along. It was always the case that the opposition were only there to stir trouble. The opposition was communist. The opposition never had the interests of Malaysians in mind. This was the propaganda that was put forward by Barisan Nasional and Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, knowing that he controlled the media, he made it sure that that was the message that was sent to the people continuously. A reading of the newspapers made us wonder what kind of a country we lived in. We look at what is happening today. In 2012, we still read the mainstream papers and we still feel the same. Every day you read the Star newspaper, you read the Times newspaper, and you wonder whether there are any good people in the opposition. In fact, the Newsdays Times has got a portion that they quote Anwar Ibrahim's past quotes. Are you aware of that? I mean, you can quote past quotes every day for the last 2 years. That's important news to Newsdays Times. Now let's not talk about Utusan Malaysia. No point. So you talk about Utusan Malaysia, you don't know where to stop. But the point is this: Dr. Mahathir Mohamad and the UMNO that he built, this is what they capitalized on. Because they thought that if media was on their side and they could continuously feed the people with the propaganda that they wanted the people to hear, then it was more or less certain that never would the people rise against the Barisan Nasional government. That is what Dr. Mahathir wanted. But unfortunately for Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, the man who's responsible for destroying democracy in this country, for destroying the judiciary in this country, unfortunately for him, there was a media revolution. A revolution which brought the people above the kind of politics that Barisan Nasional advanced. So we have, nowadays, we have internet. We have portals, Malaysia Kini, Malaysian Insider and so forth. This is the weapon that resulted or led to the victory of President Barack Obama earlier, before his re-election again. But Barisan Nasional never thought that in 2008 the people would stand up, the people will rise, because they have with them information, the truth. They know what it is the Barisan Nasional government is about, and they understand why it is we in Pakatan Rakyat fight against them. Ladies and gentlemen, I am no different from you. I am a member of parliament today because of you. I am a member of parliament today because I was one of them many years ago who had to sit back and take the nonsense from Barisan Nasional, read their propaganda, know it is not true, and then decide I had to fight against them for the betterment of my children and the future of this country. The same when with Saudari Kasturi. I remember during Operation Ralang days, I knew Kasturi, but it was a very different Kasturi. Kasturi was Kasturi. But this is where I say, after years of putting us through the kind of governance that they want to, today we stand here. So what was it in 2008? Apakah mesej yang disampaikan oleh Barisan Nasional untuk menakutkan lagi rakyat? Menyatakan kepada mereka sekiranya Pakatan Rakyat mengambil alih kerajaan, sudah tentu kerajaan Malaysia ini akan bankrupt, muflis, habis. Sudah tentu semua akan habis. They said that in 2008 and they are still saying it today. They are still saying it today. I can tell you one thing. Barisan Nasional got it wrong. With what is happening today, there's only one thing that will habis in the next election to come, and that is Barisan Nasional itself. We Malaysians, we understand that it is not easy. We live in a country, a multiracial backgrounds, many diverse types of people, diverse types of religion. It is not easy. People who speak different languages, people who understand different cultures. It is not easy to bring us together. Now what has happened in the last 50 years in Barisan Nasional is a policy of divide and rule. What do? They have Barisan Nasional, which talks about parties which exist for certain races. So you've got MCA for the Chinese, MIC for the Indians, and UMNO for the Malays. And after this, after 50 over years, Najib Tun Razak suddenly decides that he wants to talk about one Malaysia. One Malaysia. You know, even the flag, and I've said this many times, I say it again because I think it's important that we remind ourselves. You see this big number 1 with the Malaysian flag in it. That's one Malaysia. You ask yourself, I ask all over the place, there's no other country in the world that has a 1 before it. There is none. There is no one Singapore, there is no one India, there is no one China, one Australia, or one UK. None. So a country in which the government decides that they have to advertise themselves as being a one government. Ya, saya katakan, bila kita lihat di Malaysia, kita lihat bagaimana Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak apabila menjadi Perdana Menteri, perkara pertama yang beliau mengumumkan adalah bagaimana beliau berhasrat untuk menubuhkan One Malaysia. Persoalan yang kita tanya kepada Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak adalah ini: kalau sekarang beliau terima bahawa perlu sudah sampai masanya untuk mewujudkan One Malaysia, saya nak tanya, kerajaan Barisan Nasional sebelum daripada ini mewujudkan negara apa? So what was it before? Sekarang mereka berkata berkenaan dengan One Malaysia. Mereka sebut berkenaan dengan isu keakraban di antara pekaman. They talk about relations between the religions, the various races. Dulu apabila DAP sebut berkenaan perkara ini, senang, tangkap, masuk ISA. Bila kita menuntut dan we demanded for equal rights, its addition, all sorts of things, ISA. But now, why does Barisan Nasional say that it needs to change? Kenapa? Tuan-tuan dan puan, the message for tonight is this: everywhere in this world, apart from Singapore, but it's also moving there, people are used to the concept of different governments. Di seluruh dunia, mana jua tempat, orang sudah tahu, sudah dengar, sudah melalui sistem dui kerajaan. Jadi apa yang berlaku adalah Semasa pilihan raya, terdapat dua parti politik yang bersedia untuk memerintah. Apa yang diperlukan adalah untuk kedua-dua pemimpin daripada parti politik tersebut maju kepada rakyat. Apakah hasrat mereka? Apakah yang mereka nak buat sekiranya mereka dipilih sebagai pemimpin memerintah negara tersebut? In a two-party system, all the countries, they have two parties that are ready to govern. They have leaders from those two parties who are prepared to tell the people before an election, why should you vote for me? What can I do which is better than my opponent? Macam kita lihat pilihan raya di United States, Barack Obama, Mitt Romney, kita lihat mereka adakan debat, debates. Kalau kita lihat quality debate, tidak mengapa siapa kalah, tapi isu dia, isu yang dibangkitkan. Rakyat tahu apa isu sebenar. Rakyat tahu, dapat menilaikan apakah jawapan kepada isu tersebut. Dan rakyat dapat membuat keputusan mendengar apa jawapan-jawapan terhadap isu-isu tersebut. This is normal. Nah, bila kita lihat ada pilihan raya, tak ada masalah. Ada pilihan raya, siapa menang, siapa kalah, tak ada masalah. Mereka peluk, mereka mengucapkan, tanya, dan mereka teruskan dengan kejayaan mereka masing-masing. Normal, tak ada masalah. Tapi di Malaysia, sebelum pilihan raya, kita baca surat khabar Najib Tun Razak yang cakap berkenaan dengan demokrasi, wants to make Malaysia the best democracy in the world. Kita baca surat khabar dia, hari-hari memberi sebab kenapa Pakatan Rakyat ini devil of the highest order. Dia mengatakan orang yang membuat keputusan, memilih, mengundi untuk Pakatan Rakyat, parti PAS, DAP, PKR, these people are irresponsible. So if you vote for us, you're irresponsible. If you come here and listen to ceramah, you're irresponsible. Who is irresponsible? Saya nak tanya Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak, apa maksud kamu apabila kamu menyatakan kamu nak wujudkan satu negara demokratik yang lebih besar, yang lebih canggih, untuk dinilaikan seluruh dunia sebagai demokrasi yang terbaik di dunia? Ini masalah dengan Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak. Slogan dia banyak, sehingga saya pun tak tahu ABC banyak, 1, 2, 3 banyak. Tapi slogan itu satu, apa yang dia buat itu lain. Kalau sebenarnya kita lihat surat khabar, muka surat 1, muka surat 2, dia kata Najib Tun Razak best Prime Minister. Wang banyak dia salurkan sini, salurkan sana. Kita lihat banyak gambar-gambar, potong ribbon, macam-macam hari-hari. According to Najib Tun Razak, under Barisan Nasional now, this country is at its top of moments, the best, no problem. Tak ada masalah keuangan, tak ada masalah rasuah, tak ada masalah apa, tak ada masalah jenayah, tak ada. Don't you understand? There is no problems in Malaysia as long as Najib Tun Razak is the Prime Minister. Jadi saya nak tanya, if Najib Tun Razak's government now, Barisan Nasional, is so sure that nothing is wrong in Malaysia, there is no financial problem, there is no corruption, there is no crime and so forth, then why is he so scared of allowing us in Pakatan Rakyat to take over for 5 years? Kalau betul pemerintahan Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak ini betul tak ada masalah, bagilah kepada Pakatan Rakyat. Biar Pakatan Rakyat yang ambil alih kerajaan. Kita tengok sama ada Pakatan Rakyat boleh buat kerjaan lebih baik daripada Barisan Nasional. This is what we want to see. Simple. Tetapi apa yang kita lihat, cara dalam mana? Cara dalam mana mereka meneruskan ideologi mereka. Ladies and gentlemen, they will carry on with this until the election comes. We see what kind of leaders we deal with in Barisan Nasional. Syarizat Jalil tak payah cakap. Saya rasa saudara Rafizi sudah datang. Sudah. Itu dia dengan Syarizat ada special relationship. Not that, no, you know what I mean. Ini sekarang kena jaga-jaga sikit. Besok utusan special relationship. So utusan, maksud saya dari segi NFC lah, kalau utusan tak tahu ya. It's a lembu relationship. It's a different thing from what you all think. One of the examples, 250 million. You come to Puchong, How many people there in need of funds? Berapa ramai orang yang sudah bukan 1 tahun, 2 tahun, tapi dah 10 tahun, 20 tahun, mungkin 50 tahun pengalaman mereka menternak lembu. Nak minta pinjaman 10,000 pun tak boleh. Tapi di sini seorang yang tak tahu berkenaan dengan lembu dapat 250 juta. Bila kita sebut, oh, no problem, tak ada masalah. Bila kita tekan, baru sekarang dia kata, oh ya ada masalah, kita akan charge, don't worry. At the same time they sue Rafizi, charge him. Itu satu. More recently, what we see in the great Dato' Sri Nazri Aziz, the asset of Malaysia, the greatest asset to us. We are all overwhelmed by this asset that we have. Yeah, asset. Asset apa? Did you see his response to the Malaysia Kini news reporter? Did you read? Kalau ada masa balik malam ini, rujuk transkrip apa yang dia cakap berkenaan dengan reporter. Saya ahli parlimen, bila saya lihat ahli parlimen sebegini, kita rasa malu. Malu. Don't ask me about my son. I don't sleep with him. I don't, another one word I don't want to use. Tak sampai hati lah. With people also I don't want to use. Orang ni macam ni. But he's an asset. Dia nak kotok saya, nak ambil tindakan terhadap saya kerana saya asset. Saya paling baik. Tak tahu ke? This is the kind of arrogance that we see in the Barisan National leadership. And this man is supposed to be minister in charge of parliament, satu. Number 2, minister who is responsible for the Attorney General's chambers. No wonder lah, we can see what's happening in the AG's chambers. I think it all makes sense now. But what we want to see is this. We want to stop this kind of nonsense. We want to bring arrogance, we want to bring ministers like this to an end. What we want is a two-party system. A two-party system where the people decide. The real power in the hands of the people. That is what we want. It doesn't matter if it's Pakatan Rakyat. It doesn't matter if it's Barisan Nasional. You and I today, we are here. Why are we fighting? We are fighting not for us. We are fighting for the generations to come. We are fighting to make sure that whoever is government will listen to the people and not govern for their own gain. This is what Barisan Nasional doesn't understand. This is what Rosma doesn't understand. This is what Najib Tun Razak doesn't understand. Yeah? I don't have, maybe refuse. Yeah? How many minutes left? 0 minutes left. I thought I just started my speech. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very, very happy to see so many of you here today. But as I said earlier, we must remain focused. We must understand why we are doing this. You must understand why there are some people who are prepared to come forward now to say, give us a chance. We will try our best. And I ask all of you here, in these elections, remember one thing. This election is not about Pakatan Rakyat versus Barisan Nasional. It's not about DAP versus UMNO. It's nothing like that. This election is about you. After 50 over years as an independent nation, are you now ready to say that we are mature enough politically to have a two-party system? We are now mature enough. We are not afraid. We are brave. We are prepared to send a different government to Putrajaya because we want them to check to make sure that what Barisan Nasional has done in the last 55 years is right. This is what the message is. And it is up to you. Ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you this. Trust me. If you think, and some have said in the last few days, that there is this idea that some of us in the opposition want to remain there forever, think again. That is not what we have in mind. What we have in mind is to break that most important hurdle that faces Malaysians politically. And that is fact that we have not, in the last 55 years, had two governments, as a second government. 2008, prior to that, the main argument by Barisan Nasional, if Barisan Nasional falls in any of the states, if those states are governed by Pakatan, then you are going to see chaos and so forth. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to say to you, in the last 4 years, I think Pakatan Rakyat has done reasonably well. We have had our share of shortcomings. There are many problems that are still out there which need to be dealt with. I agree. That is to be expected. But the point is, we have not let you down. We have not allowed this country to go into chaos. We have not allowed any state to go bankrupt. In fact, it's the reverse. Penang has been said to be the best governed state in Malaysia today. In terms of foreign investment, Penang tops it again, followed by Selangor. In terms of revenues, we look at how the Kedah state government has turned things around. Kelantan in the last 20 years, no problems. Corruption almost nil. There is no reason for anybody here to fear putting us in government in Putrajaya. It is up to you. We are prepared. We have shown in the last 4 years that we can. It is now up to you to decide. Are you prepared to allow Pakatan Rakyat to take over federal government in the next elections?
Yes!
Are the people prepared to see a new government led by Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim in the next elections?
Yes!
Can or cannot?
Yes!
Sure or not?
Yes!
Then let us see it happen. Thank you very much. Nandri Wanakam. Session.